and Al Jazeera spoke to a 13-year-old displaced Palestinian. Her name is Nadin Abdullatif, and she says she's been traumatized by being repeatedly forced to flee the fighting.
It was absolutely terrifying because we left people behind and we were terrified for them. Where are they going to go? How are they going to get out? Those are questions that came in my head. We were stuffed in that car. And when I tell you stuffed, stuffs on our laps, people on top of each other. We had at least 10 people in one car with all of our stuff too. It was absolutely terrifying, and
Yeah, 20 kilometers, 12 miles by foot or by car if you're lucky.
Never want to experience that. No child should experience that. No child should see that or even view that. It is absolutely terrifying. These children do not deserve.
By the way, while this is happening in the south, Israel also started dropping pamphlets in the north telling the people in the north to also evacuate to the south. If you wanted to understand that there is absolutely no other, there's no other option for the Palestinians than to just sit there and die, there is no greater indication of such reality than Palestinians being told to evacuate the north. It's just, they don't give a shit. We've seen this before. It's a death march. It's Armenian genocide. It's Manifest Destiny. It's Trail of Tears. It's unconscionable. Being told to walk 18 to 25 kilometers on 220 calories per day average. Yeah. The Midnight Vigil, I covered the CNN article, my friend. The Sideh Tayman article.
To live like this.
As a Palestinian girl, how do you see now your future in light of the unrelenting circle of destruction and with the ongoing military?
So the people questioning why she speaks English, Gazans are highly educated per capita. Palestinians in both Gaza and in the West Bank have a higher percentage of BAs, college education, than Israel. Literally, they're some of the most highly educated people on the planet. Yeah, the literacy rate is incredibly high. Having said that, English speaking is not that high. I think it's like 17% or something that speaks English in Gaza. But yeah.
Offensive on the territory.
If this keeps going on, they're gonna keep killing their future. And you know what their future is? Is our children. It's us. We're the world's future. Every child is the world's future. And you're killing millions and yet thousands of children. You're killing your future. You're destroying your future. You're destroying your life. These children don't deserve this. I do not see a future in Palestine if this keeps going on. And this indeed, and yes indeed, has to stop. We have asked so many times for a ceasefire.
Bro, she's 13, by the way. I just want to point that out. She's 13 years old, bro. Think about what you were doing when you were 13. Isn't this the same girl?
I'm always sick. I don't know.
I don't know. Is it Nadin Abdullatif? Is she the same girl? I don't know.
Yeah, again, the odds went out. The occupation comes out.
Oh my God, this is when she was 10.
I can't do anything. You see all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything this morning.
There you go. That was, that was 3 years ago. This is her life, bro. That was when she was 10.
I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people. I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10.
But I don't get it. This is from, wait, so you're saying it didn't start on October 7th? I don't get it. This is 3 years ago. The math doesn't add up. Does that mean that she's standing in front of rubble 3 years ago? That's really interesting. I thought I was listening to Bernie Sanders earlier, and he said that Hamas started this war on October 7th. But here is footage that I'm sure Bernie was aware of. Just interesting. Everybody keeps telling me that history started on October 7th, you know? And for some reason, here is some footage that is really gruesome.
10. All of this, when I see it, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just...
Yeah, Chad about to come in and be like, but remember the Mufti, dude? Remember the British Grand Mufti, dude? I'm just saying, this kid deserves to be melted. She should count her lucky star she wasn't.
Send a missile to them and kill them. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Back in the Israeli campaign in 2021, Bernie was pretty much saying from the river to the sea, October 7 really broke his brain into the liberal Zionist position. Yes. This in your coverage of 2021 literally opened my closed eyes as a German. The Palestinian side is never shown here. It has never really been covered nor explained. I realized that I knew nothing. Thank you so much for covering the cause. You have no clue how much you do. Well, I try to do my very best. And it is up to you to continue that message to those who will listen around you.
Dan says it is not your right. You should die. You should be killed. It's not fair. It's not fair. Since when was it Allah to not like the fact that you're killing children? Since when was that Allah? Since when was that existent? Where are the papers that were signed from all of those countries about children's rights, about human rights? Where did those go? Again, I do not see any kind of future here in Gaza if this keeps going on, and I do not see any process nor future around the world. Let me tell you, they're not going to stop in Rafah if they're not stopped. They're going to continue and go around all Gaza once again so many times if they don't stop them.
Baba.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Algeria.
Yeni pide İstanbul'dan hem de. Until all the men are dead, is that the plan? It's just until everyone is forcibly purged from the area. So, folks, let's talk about the United Nations cuts estimates of women, children deaths in Gaza war in half. This, of course, is a very deceptive, dare I say, genocide denying article title by the United States of America today. And of course, you know, it's, I guess, unsurprising if you know a thing or two about the way they operate in American media. As a child actor, brother, how the hell does she know American? Okay, dude, come on. At least put a sarcasm or a hoggers or something next to your obviously sarcastic statements so that people can understand. And when you actually read the article, a very different reality is shown. But of course, that doesn't stop people from pushing, like Joe Scarborough, stop people from pushing this bullshit. UN HALVE's estimates from women and children killed in Gaza, apparently the Hamas figures repeatedly cited are false. Someone sent that article to me and said, I called your numbers were wrong. I responded, you might want to check your morality when you think that 10,000 civilians is an own or a gotcha. Yeah, exactly. It is ridiculous when people are like, see, it's only 8,000 children that were murdered. You know who does that? Nazis. Imagine if they did that for the Holocaust. No, they literally do that for the Holocaust. Nazis do. It is literally one of the first steps of genocide denial. What you think? Like, what do you think Nazis talk about? Nick Fuentes talk about like 6 million cookies in ovens. It's impossible to bake that many cookies. Like, what do you think he's talking about? It's calling into question the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust. That's what that is, which is also ridiculous for two fronts. One, because it's well documented. But also, two, let's say if it was 3 million, would that be appropriate? Like, would that have been, oh, well, I guess it's not as bad now? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Obviously, that's not the case. Like I said, it is very well documented. But the idea that, like, you could run around and be like, well, only 3 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, so it's not as bad, is so insane. Anyway, they adjusted to only identified victims, hard to identify detached limbs from limbs scattered for blocks and buried under rubble. Yeah. The UN did not have the estimates of women and children killed. Actually, experts note that the reported figures are a vast undercount, as many are missing under rubble and in mass graves. Also, Joe is citing a propaganda rag that said killed babies were dolls. Yeah. That was really funny when Jerusalem Post did come out with that article. Remember that? I don't want to show you the footage, but Tal Hagen's on it. Update. A similar issue has arisen with an incorrect assessment of the recent Gaza casualty figures as reported by OCHA OPT office, the UN Office of Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs in the Occupied Palestinian Territories. OCHA didn't report a dramatic decrease in the casualty figures of women and children. It just now only reports identified victims. Here is the explanation. Palestinians reported fatalities include 34,735 numbers, which is 9,500 women. Hold on, I gotta zoom in. My eyes are bad. 9,500 women, 14,500 children. And by the way, I want to note once again that is also an undercount. Very likely an undercount, given the fact that the entire healthcare infrastructure and the reporting facilities for such things is completely destroyed by Israel. It's just, it makes it much harder to report adequately on these figures because Israel deliberately destroyed that shit so that they could call into question the numbers when they want to deploy some kind of fucking disgusting Hasbara. The cumulative cumulative as of 8th of May is 34,844 reported fatalities, which include identified, like directly identified, as 24,686 identified as of April 30th, with the numbers of 40% men, 20% women, 8% elderly, and 32% children, not including more than 10,000 reported missing or under the rubble. So the only thing that they changed in their coverage wasn't that they decreased the death toll, they just haven't been able to identify all of the dead. The keyword difference here is reported versus identified. Reported. The figures of death have been reported to MOH. For a better explanation, review the explanation by the MOH here. Identified. Several parameters need to be met to be considered identified according to the Gaza Ministry of Health. Whether you trust the figures presented by the Gaza Ministry of Health or not, it's important to correctly understand what's being reported. Update. One of the American doctors trapped in Gaza by Israel's siege is Adam Hamaway, an army veteran who famously saved the life of Senator Duckworth after her helicopter crash in Iraq. Dr. Hamawi, not Hamaway.
Hamawi, you know, a similar question to you. You've certainly had the chance to see combat in Iraq and operate in Iraq. It's something that none of us probably have ever experienced. How does what you are seeing now in the conditions that you are operating in compare to other war zones that you've lived through?
You know, I've seen combat and war wounds, and have done surgery with humanitarian and disaster relief now for almost 20 years. And this is nothing like this. You know, the injuries, the amount of children that I've seen is just, you know, unprecedented. I take care of more, you know, people under the age of 13 than I've ever taken care of before. I've done more amputations and seen more traumatic amputations of children than I've seen during my entire career in the last 2 weeks. And that's what's really making a difference. You know, in Iraq, there was some civilian casualties. Here, it's like primarily just, you know, children, women, elderly. I mean, today I took care of 4 children, 1 woman, and like 2 people over the age of like 60. And this is not like typical of.
Doctor, I hate to do this to you, but the color of your skin and the way that your face looks is making me question your loyalty to the American military that you were once a part of. It's making me think that you might be Hamas. Dr. Hamawi, more like Doctor of Hamas. I haven't heard you condemn October 7 or Hamas yet. I'm sorry. You're looking real Hamas-like right now.
Of, you know, the wars that I've like experienced in the past. So this is like, you know, really the main, like, you know, this is not like a war. This is just like a complete, utter destruction. There's nothing like left. Like I was able to actually venture out of the hospital, and there's like nothing left in the area around us. It's like just flattened, completely flattened.
Doctors of terror. Wait, is Chad implying the title plastic surgeon is intentional by the media? Wait, what? Plastic surgeon? I don't know if you knew that or not, but plastic surgeons, can do like medical intervention that is an absolute necessity. Like, what do you think happens when someone is burned? And secondly, there is reconstructive surgery. And last but not least, more importantly, a plastic surgeon is still very much a surgeon. They are probably more, dude, a plastic surgeon right now is probably more of a necessity in the field of combat in an ethnic cleansing campaign like the one in Gaza than like, I don't know, a dermatologist. Not to say that any kind of medical professional is needed. Of course they are. But like a plastic surgeon engaging in reconstructive surgery, treating burn wounds, amputations, and things of that nature is probably going to be even more necessary than other doctors. 10,000 amputations and over 2,000 kids with 3rd-degree burns. You need plastic surgeons more than ENTs in Gaza. Yeah, I do think that a lot of people just think like you know, people in Gaza are not getting BBLs, okay? They're not. That's not what plastic surgeons are doing. Plastic surgeons are required in level 1 trauma centers, the most severe level of trauma in hospitals. Yeah, they're not doing BBL drizzy shit. During COVID, they had proctologists inserting breathing tubes. I don't think they're extremely picky about help either. Yeah. In a, what's the word? Arbitrage? Is it arbitrage? When there's no, when you have like obviously limited facilities that have hit like, or triage, not arbitrage. Sorry. Oh my God. My brain is so busted. It's not arbitrage. Triage is what you saw in COVID when there's not enough doctors, there's not enough healthcare facilities. Doctors have to make tough choices. Triage is a form of arbitrage, technically, but I mean the proper word there is an arbitrage. Anyway, Kaneko said UN teams in Gaza have been unable to independently verify the figures because of the prevailing situation on the ground and the sheer number of fatalities. For this reason, all figures used by the UN clearly cite the Ministry of Health in Gaza as the same source. The UN will verify these figures to the extent possible when conditions permit. The revised estimates were first reported by the Jerusalem Post. After expressing initial skepticism last year about the accuracy of figures provided by Hamas, President Joe Biden in recent months started to cite death figures from the Gaza Ministry of Health, including during his March State of the Union address in Congress. Israeli officials have long disputed the death figures reported by Hamas, including the share of women and children killed during the war, except no, they don't. They use those figures as well. That's bullshit. They dispute it while simultaneously using it. A critical review of the Gaza and MOH casualty numbers.
Thanks, Farhan. There's some reporting that's come out that says, quote, the UN has halved the number of casualties.
Halved, yes. It's a hard word to say.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, though,
yes,
right?
I do know. Cut in half.
Cut in half, thank you. The casualties from Gaza, is that true?
It's not quite the case, no. What I can tell you is this. The overall number of fatalities that's been tallied by the Ministry of Health in Gaza, which is our counterpart on dealing with the death tolls, that number remains unchanged, and it's at more than 35,000 people since October 7th. What's changed is the Ministry of Health in Gaza has updated the breakdown of fatalities for whom full details have been documented. So what they recently published was that they gave figures for 24,686 out of 34,622 overall fatalities recorded in Gaza. And those 24,686 people are the ones for whom full details have been documented. In other words, people who have been fully identified. Out of that smaller number, that subset of identified bodies, you have 7,797 children, 4,959 women, 1,924 elderly, and 10,006 men.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because the reality is these guys do it all the time. They do the same exact thing. Can you move the taskbar? No, I can't. It's not something that I put up there. It's just from the video. You have to remember, they literally have not stopped doing this devious shit. Not the UN. I'm saying like media and the way that they will take anything and everything. Like they'll use the extra caution that the United Nations is taking while actively talking about how severe the situation on the ground is, and will turn it around and be like, that's right, they have the numbers actually. Yeah, they only killed 8,000 babies actually, which is awesome. Palestinians are not indigenous to the Levant though. They are Arabs. They come from Arabia. The Arabs colonized Levant, not the Jews. Brother doesn't know that the majority of the Jewish population is Arab Jews, not Palestinian citizens of Israel. I'm talking about the Mizrahi and Sephardic, and some Sephardic Jews are also of Arab descent and of Arab origin. Thanks, man. That's a good take, brother. Thank you so much.
And the Ministry of Health says that the documentation process of fully identifying details of the casualties is ongoing. Meanwhile, as you can see if you do the math, that there's about another 10,000 plus bodies who still have to be fully identified. And so then the details of those, which of those are children, which of those are women, that will be reestablished once the full identification process is complete. Our teams in Gaza are unable to independently verify these figures, given the situation on the ground and the continuing combat and the sheer number of fatalities. And so we cite the Ministry of Health as the source for our figures.
And do you have any reason to believe that the Ministry of Health numbers are incorrect based on the years that the UN has worked with the Ministry of Health of Gaza?
Unfortunately, we have the sad experience of coordinating with the Ministry of Health on casualty figures every few years for large mass casualty incidents in Gaza. And in past times, their figures have proven to be generally accurate. Yes, Deshi.
It's actually not even fully correct. Their figures are almost always an undercount. And when he says unfortunately, that's what he means. He's saying like, unfortunately, we have to, like, he's not saying it's unfortunate that they have to collaborate or coordinate with the Ministry of Health. He's saying unfortunate that like those mass casualty incidents have to happen. It's unfortunate the frequency in which they have to do this kind of coordination. Are Palestinian men not human or something? Why do they talk about them like they're all terrorists or something? It's because they have to justify somehow the casualty numbers, and they look bad even when you factor in every single Palestinian man over the age of 18 as an enemy combatant. That's it. Those same estimations would probably put the Israeli October 7 casualty numbers in a very different light too, by the way. Can you imagine if I got on here on October 8 and was talking about how, like, one, Israelis are actually faking, they're doing Israeli wood. They're faking these images of people being killed and whatnot. Or that they literally are all enemy combatants. They're all actually militants. They're all militants. And that the Israeli government is actually hiding inside of the population. The Israeli government is actually hiding themselves as human shields. The Israeli military is hiding as human shields. And the kibbutzim are actually military defense areas that, like, the old grandmas and whatnot are actually in support of the IDF. So therefore they deserve to be slaughtered. They should have their food withheld. They should not be able to go back to their house. You'd get a Kick contract pretty fast. No, I think there's still way more Zionists on Kick. To be fair, you did say the IDF is using civilians as a human shield, the whole shopping mall thing. Yeah, I'm saying that is not a permissible argument for the IDF either. That's my point. Like, the IDF as a headquarter, that is literally to address there's a counter argument to what Israel says. The point is, when I bring that up, I'm showing how ridiculous it would be. It is ridiculous. Calling a festival a power target and talking about pressure on Israeli Molly enjoyers. Yeah. Holy shit. Even Israeli outlets are writing about this now. Drawing a star on David on the ruins of houses. Yeah. I'm sure the 86 is the unit or some shit. Honoring fallen Golani troops, trace giant star of David in the captured terror outpost. Look at the way that Times of Israel is covering this shit. Jesus Christ. I mean, this is old. UN says total number of fatalities in Gaza remains unchanged after controversy over revised data. Yeah, even the New York Times, even CNN is like talking about this shit. Also, here's a U.S. Army intel officer resigning over U.S. Gaza war policy and support for Israel. An Army intelligence officer resigned in an act of protest over what he called nearly unqualified U.S. support for Israel, according to a resignation letter posted on LinkedIn. Major Harrison Mann was assigned to the Defense Intelligence Agency, according to his LinkedIn profile, and said in his resignation letter that U.S. policies have enabled and empowered the killing and starvation of tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. At some point, whatever the justification, you're either advancing a policy that enables the mass starvation of children or you're not, Mann wrote in his letter. Mann has worked at the Defense Intelligence Agency since August 2021 as a Middle East analyst, according to his LinkedIn profile. He's been in the Army for 13 years, during which he attended Army Special Warfare Center School, as well as Harvard's Kennedy School. Mann said he submitted his resignation on November 1st, which was less than a month after the Hamas terror attack on October 7 and the beginning of Israel's bombardment of the coastal enclave. CNN has yet not been able to reach Mann, but when the New York Times reached him Monday, Mann confirmed he was the author of the post but declined to comment further. An official from the Defense Intelligence Agency confirmed Mann's resignation. He's Jewish, by the way. I mean, it's not surprising. An official from the DIA confirmed Mann's resignation and said such resignations are a routine occurrence. We confirmed that Major Mann was previously assigned to the DIA. Employee resignations are a routine occurrence at the DIA, as they are at other employers, and employees resign their positions for any number of reasons and motivations. Military dudes have a LinkedIn? What the fuck do they say? I got a master on killing brown people? Yes. According to the Army, Mann had deployed to Tunisia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and South Korea during his 13-year military service. Mann requested an unqualified resignation on November 29, 2023, the Army said in a statement, in which an officer voluntarily requested to be discharged after completing his or her service obligations. Mann's request was approved on January 8, 2024. It will become effective June 3rd, 2024. More than 1,000 Hamas members are under treatment in Turkey, the president says. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Monday that he does not see Hamas as a terrorist organization, but as a resistance organization, and more than 1,000 Hamas members are currently under treatment in Turkish hospitals. Dude, it's so funny seeing his attitude change so dramatically. Holy dude, in like the next 6 months, he's gonna be like, we're invading Israel. If this shit keeps up, he's gonna be like, 1 minute, we are invading Israel. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's gonna call NATO Article 5 on Israel. I do not see Hamas as a terrorist organization, On the contrary, Hamas is a resistance organization whose lands have been occupied since 1947 and the occupation. They have protected their lands. They are a resistance organization struggling to protect those places, Erdogan added, according to Turkish state news agency Anadolu. Yeah, bro, it took... This guy is giving a better response to election outcomes than Joe Biden right now. Like, in his, like, 30-year reign, he saw one election going away where it was like genuinely damaging, and he's like, yo, this Israel shit, dog. What was I thinking? He still does trade? No. By way of Azerbaijan, I suspect he is continuing the trade with Israel, of course. It is also interesting because Turkey's in dire circumstances with its economy. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with like Western support. Germany, oh, dude, it's Jover. Remember what I said a couple of weeks ago? I was like, bro, if Germany starts saying Israel needs to cut it out, that's how you know shit has really hit the fan. Oh my lord, bro. Germany has been too busy arresting German Jews every fucking day since October 7 in an effort to combat anti-Semitism. Okay, that Germany, yeah, the one holdout will be Czechia. If they lose them, it's Jover. Okay, ultra rare German little W. No, I don't believe this at all. Maybe all the Mein Kampf shit that like the President Herzog was showing finally got to the Germans, and they were like, actually, maybe these guys also hate Jews. Germany was like, wait a minute, they're reading our books over there. They were like, hold on, we have a patent on this kind of thing. Okay, what is this? Encroaching in our territory? Damn, bro, they're reading German literature out there. Ooh, Mein Kampf? Das ist deutsche Literaturen. Ja, sehr gut, ja. You wish the moving the goalpost is a couple of weeks? What? I mean, yeah, I still don't trust that statement. I don't trust the German government at all. Okay. Ooh, here for all the German slander. Trying to get some Helga pussy. Not looking too good. Trump leads in 5 key states as young and non-white voters express discontent with Biden. Will that change his attitude at all? No.